Hello, welcome back or welcome. My name is Ash and this is
Onyx Raven on paper.
Today we're going to talk about what I'm reading in October. If you're a spooky season fan and happen to be also a fan of books, crafting, planning and the like, then this is the place for you. So make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss anything at all. Is this character working? Got this handy dandy little notebook I'm just obsessed with. It's from Killstar if you want to know. It will be featured in a haul soon. But I've got notes so we can get through this rather more swiftly than my usual rambling self. I want to partake in a few readathons this month. Surprise, surprise. The main one being Gothtober. I'll give you a second to figure out what team I've chosen. So that's a month-long readathon. I know we're a little bit into October. I still wanted to share what I'm reading this month. Gothtober is month long, but also I want to participate in Vampathon and Camp Weekend Ween, which both reside at the end of the month. And it's never too late to start readathons in spooky season. Just go for it. A lot of the books that I'm going to be showing today were featured in my book haul that I've uploaded recently. That is a spooky specific haul for books. So I will link up, link down, link everywhere if you want to check that out. So this is basically going to be a rundown of each of the readathons, the prompts, and what I've chosen for each prompt. So for Gothtober, you had to choose a side. So you have to choose a team, angels or demons. But there are 3 prompt cards, one for demons, one for angels, and one for death. I will link all the amazing creators that are involved in hosting Gothtober down below. There'll definitely be some people you recognise there. I obviously chose the demon team, and so I've got the prompts for the demon team. But because I'm me, I also selected the prompts on the death card that were not on the demon card. So basically it's the 4 angel prompts that appear on the death card, because the death prompts is a mixture of the two plus the diversity prompts, which are on all cards. Starting with the prompts that are just the demon prompts. So first we have mythology, and it was bonus points if it wasn't Greek, because obviously that's a very popular mythology. And I went for Jamaican mythology with Witches Steeped in Gold by Shannon Smart. Basically, this is about 2 rival witches who team up and unite for revenge against a villain, a threat. And I believe the villain is also female, so this is going to be very female centric, I feel like, and I'm very, very excited about it. Just look at this. This is a Fairy Loot edition, and it's been made to look like a grimoire, which is amazing. Even the inside looks like a grimoire. I don't think I showed the inside in my haul actually, so surprise! Next we have Found Family, and for this I struggled a little bit because sometimes it's hard to know if there's found family in a book if you've not read it. But I've had this on my TBR for a little while, and this is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. This is about children that have peculiar gifts, I believe. I've seen the film, I've never watched it. I've never read the book, and they live in a house that's on like a secluded island, I think, to, I guess, protect the rest of the world from their gifts, and also protect them, I guess, because of their differences. So I'm really excited. Like I said, I've seen the film, I enjoyed it. I'm not sure how true to the book the film was. Yeah, a mysterious island and abandoned orphanage, which is why I selected it for the found family, because they're kind of children that are kind of just brought together because of their circumstances and their gifts. So very excited about that one. Like I said, it's been on my TBR for a little while and I've just not got to it. Okay, next is LGBTQ plus rep. And for this, I've got another fairy loot. This was the second book in the most recent box. And it is After Love by Tanya Byrne. Not even death will tear them apart. This is a female-female romance about a character called Ash who finds herself in the afterlife and being recruited by a gang of reapers, I think. But she can't forget her first love and she will do anything to see her again, even if it means they only get to spend a few more days together, dead or alive, which it sounds fantastic. And this cover is absolutely gorgeous. Next is Omens, and I did have a couple of choices for this one, but I really wanted to read this book. I've had it since release and I've just not got to it yet, and that is The Ravens, because obviously the ravens are seen to some people as bad omens. I personally quite like ravens. But this is by Cass Morgan and Danielle Page. A sorority with witches. Teamed with this cover. That's all I really need to know. I think it follows two characters. One is an established sorority member who knows she's a witch, and the other character is someone who joins this sorority that doesn't know she's a witch. It says only their sisterhood can save them on the back. Basically, I think there's some sort of threat. Yeah, someone has discovered the Raven's secret, which is the fact that they're a coven, and that someone will do anything to see these witches burn. So basically, they're going to have to team up and get along, I think, to go up against whatever this threat is, whoever it is that's trying to harm them. I really want to rewatch the third season of American Horror Story, which is Coven. It's so far my favourite season. I'm almost at the end of Hotel, so I've got a few to go. But so far it's been my favourite season. Maybe I'll do a reading vlog where I read this and watch Coven. But yeah, excited about that one. Next is Dark Romance. So this one could have also fit for LGBTQ plus rep, but that is Carmilla. And this is the cult classic that inspired Dracula. This apparently was written 26 years prior to the release of Dracula. And it follows a female vampire and another female that gets, I guess, lured into her world. As far as I know, there are hints to a female romance between them. I thought out of my collection, this one fit the prompt best. I'm guessing because of the time period, it's more alluded to than being completely obvious and them just going, hey, here's a sapphic vampire story, because we know what times past were like when it comes to LGBT. Really excited for this one. It's a very short read, so perfect for putting on a readathon. And isn't this edition absolutely beautiful? Succeeds in inspiring a mysterious terror better than any other writer. Really excited for the spooky vibes. Oh, that was by Sheridan Le Fanu, by the way. Next we have Murder. For this one I went for a thriller. Obviously with thrillers, they tend to have murder in, but they don't always explicitly say that, like in the blurb. I chose When No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole for this one. This surrounds gentrification in Brooklyn, and our main character Sydney starts noticing that the people from her community are kind of just disappearing. I think under the guise of like moving to the suburbs, but the community she knows and loves is like just changing and kind of disappearing. She sets up a walking tour, meets someone called Theo, and they start to discover that maybe the disappearances aren't linked to people moving to the suburbs after all. So there's some sort of conspiracy, there's something going on. I'm really intrigued. And if I haven't said already, it's by Alyssa Cole. We have BIPOC rep, which I could have put When No One Is Watching in for this one. I went for Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. This was all over YouTube last year. On the back it basically says, "He is trying to poison me. You must come for me, Noemi. You have to save me." Doesn't that just sound fantastic, just from that? So in this, from what I know, is it's set in 1950s Mexico. Noemi is a socialite who gets a call or a letter from her cousin who is recently married, and with this message that she thinks her new husband is trying to poison her, and can you come and save me, sort of thing. So she goes, and it's in this house, I think called High Place, secluded, creepy mansion vibes. And then it says, "Noemi, mesmerised by the terrifying yet seductive world of High Place, may soon find it impossible to leave this enigmatic house behind." So really, really excited. I said in my haul that I've not heard a single bad thing about this, and I'm just really excited to read it this October. Next is classics. I went for Frankenstein. I believe I read this when I was younger, but it's been such a long time that I can't remember. This is, of course, the Gothic classic by Mary Shelley about Dr. Victor Frankenstein, who basically does nefarious things like, grave robbing and sewing parts together. Frankenstein is a much more melancholic story than you might think. As far as I understand and remember, you end up feeling sympathy for Frankenstein's monster, Victor Frankenstein's creation, and it's got all the kind of Gothic vibes we're looking for. And given the time period, Mary Shelley actually published this anonymously when she was 18. It wasn't until the second edition that her name appeared on the book, but she widely regarded as an absolute queen of Gothic literature because of this remarkable story, and I can't wait to give it another read. I got this from Amazon. I was a little bit disappointed by it. It looks amazing on the front, and it said it was illustrated. The illustrations are literally these tiny things that appear every now and again, but it's a nice kind of floppy paperback, so if I want to annotate or anything, then this is the perfect edition. Okay, next we have Disability Rep, and at first I thought I was going to struggle with this one because I've got Curious Incidents, so I was thinking of doing a reread of that. I also considered, because it's on Scribd, reading Disfigured, which is a non-fiction about disability representation in fairy tales, which I do still really, really want to read. I kind of want to read that maybe in a vlog where I read the fairy tales and stories that she talks about in the book at the same time as reading it. And then I realised that in my kind of book haul, and that is Rock, Paper, Scissors, which I was really excited to read anyway, and it's by Alice Feeney. It says Marriage Can Be Murder. Basically it's about a couple who goes to like a remote location, one of my favourite tropes, for their 10th wedding anniversary, and I guess it's supposed to be a rekindling of the relationship trip, but it turns out there's 10 years of secrets, and basically there's the kind of vibe of, are they both going to come out of this trip alive? But I discovered that the male protagonist in this, Adam, has a form of blindness. I think it's referred to as face blindness. Oh yeah, the first line, it says, "My husband doesn't recognise my face." So I'm guessing he's got a condition where he doesn't recognise people, maybe, which is really interesting. I don't think I've ever heard of that concept being in a book. So that's really interesting. I'm really intrigued about this one. I was already intrigued anyway. I realised I forgot the TV and film prompt for Gothtober, which is to watch a TV show or movie that contains demons. I've chosen Lucifer for that. Now we're going on to the 4 angel prompts that appear on the death card. The first being sprayed edges. And for this prompt we're going for Final Girls. I just had to put the dust cover back on because I just used it without the cover for a reel. This is by Riley Sager. To survive a killer you need a killer's instinct. Final Girls are the women left standing at the end of a massacre or a serial killer. It's a trope that's used in horror movies. This follows 3 of them, I think. Yeah, one of them gets killed and then one of the characters starts wondering if she can trust the other remaining final girl, and all she knows is that she is next. So really excited for that one, and of course it's got lovely black sprayed edges. Next is Monochrome. Again, I had a couple of options for this, but I can't put everything on my TBR. And I went for Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. This could also have fulfilled the classics prompt, and it's in this beautiful vintage classics edition. Yeah, I don't think I need to say too much about this. It's about Kathy and Heathcliff. It's got kind of gothic spooky vibes with the English moors and all that, and about their volatile relationship basically. There are many adaptations, TV and film, of this. So again, that might be something that I do during the season, is read this and watch some adaptations, but I obviously went for Monochrome because obviously this is a very black and white cover. If you've got any prompts for any readathons that's like a gothic or spooky looking cover, this would work as well. Next we have Consequences, which is kind of the reason I wanted to add the 4 angel prompts on, because I wanted to put this for Consequences, and that is A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. The consequences being you graduate. Basically, this is a school with no teachers, no lessons. It's not a traditional school of any shape or form, and basically to graduate you have to survive the monsters, the challenges, whatever we're going to come up against. It has had some polarizing reviews, but I'm going into it with an open mind because the plot, the concept intrigues me. Dark School of Magic, sign me up. Last for Gothtober is Crossroads, and this one I really struggled with because I believe that you could have something that includes a Crossroads demon to fulfill this prompt, and I didn't have anything with that, so I was kind of thinking along the lines of emotional or moral crossroads, of which there was a few. You could have Frankenstein for that, but I needed to get this book on my TBR. A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. It says a world of witches, demons and vampires, a manuscript which holds the secrets of their past and the key to their future. Diana and Matthew, the forbidden love at the heart of it. Apparently, from what I was reading on Goodreads when trying to figure out the prompts, is this manuscript, the main protagonist is the only person that can deal with it, whatever it is, and she wants nothing to do with it. So if that is the case, if it's Crossroads because she's going to be at a crossroads at some point, making the decision whether to do the thing that she needs to do and only she can do. This is obviously a TV show. It's very popular also. It's an absolute tome. It's nearly 700, it's 690. So yeah, I've got the trilogy as well, so hopefully I will love it. Okay, so that's my Gothtober TBR. So we've got witches, we've got sororities, we've got creepy houses, we've got volatile relationships, we've got vampires, we've got children with strange abilities, probably some murder and some gore in amongst there. We've got some classics. So a wide range of stuff for spooky season. I'm really excited about it. So next I'm going to quickly run through the Vampathon prompts. I have put something for every single prompt. Announcements will be down below. I discovered this because of Jodie. I believe that there is a few hosts, but all links will be down below. And this is a bingo card. So you actually only have to read 4 books to fulfill this, and it's only a week long. But I did put something in for every single prompt. Most of them are duplicates, so I won't bother getting the book up. I'll just tell you what the duplicate is, And for anything that's like a new book that we haven't seen yet, I will tell you what that is. And this is a week-long readathon in the last week of October, the 25th to the 31st, I believe. A book to sink your teeth into. I put A Discovery of Witches because there is actually a quote blurbed on it that says something to do with it's a book to sink your teeth into, so I thought that fit perfectly. Paranormal or supernatural romance, which I could have actually doubled up, but instead I went for Fangs by Sarah Anderson. This is a love story between a vampire and a werewolf. All we needed to know about that. Gothic spooky cover, I knew it was coming up. I put Frankenstein on for this, but obviously you could have Wuthering Heights, you could have Miss Peregrine's for this, you could have Mexican Gothic, you could have Ravens. Lots of options for that. Vampire book to movie. Now, I did have to check, but Carmilla has actually been made into a movie at some point, so I put Carmilla for that. Spooky middle grade, Amelia Fang, and The Barbaric Ball by Laura Ellen Anderson. I wanted to get this in somewhere, and look how cute it is, look how festive. Basically, Amelia Fang's a vampire. She has a pet pumpkin called Squashy, and in this particular instalment of the Amelia Fang series, someone kidnaps Squashy, which is just horrifying. I'm intrigued. I want to find out if Squashy is retrieved safely and in one piece. So really excited about that one. Spooky graphic novel. Again, couple of choices for this one, but for this particular prompt I went for Sheets. I've had this since last year. This is by Brenna Thumner. I've just received the second instalment for my birthday, so I really need to read this. I'm really excited about it. It's about a ghost who lives in a laundrette. You know, Sheets. I believe this ghost befriends a little girl and it goes from there. I think it's going to cover the struggles of childhood. Little girl, I said little girl, I think she's 13. Yeah, so I've got a teenager who's going through some struggles, and then Wendell the ghost has the daily struggles of, you know, being a ghost. Book with Gothic setting, again, could have had a few options for this one, but I put Mexican Gothic in for that one. You know, the secluded, creepy mansion vibes. Supernatural main character, again, lots of options for this, but wanted to get this one in desperately, and that is Mooncakes. It's a witch and a werewolf. They were like, I think they were like childhood sweethearts, and they reunite and possibly rekindle their relationship as they join together against dark supernatural forces. And also I believe that the werewolf is non-binary, so could also fulfill any LGBTQ plus rep prompts as well. This is by Wendy Zhu and Suzanne Walker. And you might be thinking, this TBR is getting a bit big, Ash. The reason I wanted to put loads of graphic novels and like middle grades and short ones on is because I've got a lot of kind of thriller and horror and more intense books that I wanted the option to have some light relief in between. Then horror book, I've put Final Girls. I'm not sure if it's technically classed as a horror, but again, I have Mexican Gothic. Technically Frankenstein, I think, is considered a Gothic horror, so. Blood is used as magic. I'm not sure because until I read any of them, but I have a few witchy books. I've got A Discovery of Witches, I've got Witches Steeped in Gold, I've got Ravens. I mean, A Deadly Education, I think the people going through the Scholomance do have magical gifts, so I'm not sure. I think it might turn up somewhere, but I'm not sure. Thriller or murder mystery, I've put When No One Is Watching, of course. Lots of other things could fulfill this. Then A Book That Frightens You. A Book That Frightens You, Horror Store by Grady Hendrix. I've had this since last year. I believe this is very creepy from what I've heard, and yeah, feeling a little bit intimidated by this one. I do really want to read it, My husband like read the first few paragraphs and he was like, yeah, this is gonna be good. So yeah, hoping to get to this one.
Even though it terrifies me.
So this is the Final Girls Support Group by Grady Hendrix. This is basically a support group for the Final Girls that we talked about before. There's a support group for them because they share an experience that not many people can relate to or would want to relate to be perfectly honest with you. It's the group that no one wants to be a part of. And then someone starts picking them off one by one. But the thing about these Final Girls is that they have each other now, and no matter how bad the odds, how dark the night, how sharp the knife, they will never ever give up. So I feel like they're gonna kind of join forces to try and protect each other and try and figure out who's doing this to them. And what I didn't realise is there's actually some kind of mixed media elements to this book as you go through. Then read a book in the dark, which I have assigned something to it, but it could be any one of these. But I chose Ray Bradbury, The Halloween Tree, which is another really short one. This is basically it's set on Halloween night, which I just kind of had to, you know. And it's about 8 trick-or-treaters, 8 boys. Something whisks one of their friends away and they join forces with a creepy man, I think. And he takes them on an unforgettable journey through space and time, deep into the mysteries of this spookiest of all nights. Can the boys save Pip before it's too late? Which just sounds amazing. And it's got some illustrations throughout it. And again, really short, perfect for a TBR. And then witchy vibes, plenty to fulfill that prompt, but I've written down the Ravens and then set in a school, deadly education. But technically, Miss Peregrine's could also fulfill that, I think. So last but not least is Camp Weekend Ween, which I'm really, really excited about. It's hosted by Olivia Reads a Latte. Of course, links down below. There are just 4 prompts for this. It's just a weekend readathon, so 29th to 31st, I think. There's 4 prompts. You only have to read one of the prompts if you want. I again have put a book for each one. Some of them duplicates. Only one is going to be a new book in case anyone's concerned about the size of my TBR. So read a book with a green cover, went for Mexican Gothic. Read a book with a group of teens. I mean, I'm not sure of the ages of the boys in the Halloween Tree, but that could be an option. But I did actually choose Miss Peregrine's for this one because the main protagonist is a teenager. I think there are some younger children in amongst the group, but I think there's quite a few of them that are teenagers as well. So that's what I chose for that. Read a slasher, mystery or horror. I went for When No One Is Watching because I thought for Halloween weekend, thrillers tend to be fast-paced and tend to be able to get through them quite quickly, so I thought this would be a good choice for that. A book with a camp setting, which I don't actually own any of. So I've got a few thoughts on what I will choose for this one, because I definitely want to fulfill this prompt in particular because it's Camp Weekend Ween. So the options I'm thinking about for this are Camp Slaughter, which is a book I've kind of heard going around. Very, very adult slasher sort of vibes. The other options are Point Horror has a camp one. Is it called Camp Fear? Something like that. I read a Point Horror last year, so it would be nice to read another one this year. And also another option would be Goosebumps, Welcome to Camp Nightmare, because I would like to collect and read, not necessarily in publishing order, but I would like to collect and read all the Goosebumps books. That is it. How many books is that? 21 books, and my battery's flashing. So yeah, I'm gonna have 21 books on my TBR. Chosen that many is because I tend to be especially during this season, like a mood reader. There's many books that would fulfill multiple prompts here, so I'm just kind of gonna go with the flow and just read what I feel like. And also there is a wonderful Instagram account, of which I can't remember the name right now, but I'll put it here, who is doing a readathon that's called Hallowheel-a-thon. And I've already downloaded a Wheel app and put the prompts, because I think that would be a fun, maybe a fun vlog or a fun way to choose out of my TBR as a bit of fun. So I'm going to do that as well. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, drop a comment down below. If you're not sure what to put, an emoji will do just fine. So some books or something spooky. Did make it this far, I appreciate you. Thank you for spending some of your precious time with me today. And if you're not already subscribed, please consider doing so, because I would love to see you again. That is it. That is what I'm going to be reading for October. I really hope that you enjoyed this one and you have some fabulous October reading. I'll see you in the comments, and I will see you in the next one. So a lot of the books that I've been and I've got web stuck to me. Ah, get off, get off. My lips are sticking together.